Hello, this is Christy, of course. Since class won't meet on Monday, April 11th, this is a little video tutorial on the work that will be due on Monday, April 18th. This is grooming shop management, of course, and so if you go to Talon and look under the course content and you go down to unit number 5, hiring and employee management, you'll see a subfolder, resumes and cover letters. That's where we're working today. So if you go to that unit, this is what you should see. First, I would point out that there's a reading assignment. Please read the chapter in your book on finding, hiring, firing, paying, and managing employees. In my edition of the textbook, that is chapter 5. We won't go over this material specifically in class, but if you have any questions, I hope you'll bring them up, because this could be on the final. Next, I'll call your attention to the Kirkwood Career Services Guide. This is an absolutely fabulous document. You may have gotten copies of it in other classes. It has information about what to do after graduation, nice checklists like this one. It has a lot of resume examples, samples of words to use, action words, ways to phrase things, superior oral and written communications. Look at that. Doesn't that look like somebody you would like to hire? It has worksheets that you can use to fill out the information that you would put in a resume. It has sample cover letters, thank you letters, job search tips. It's just a fabulous resource. I would suggest that you download it to a USB and keep it for future reference and inspiration. I'll be glad to help you while we're still in school, but after that, if you need any tips or hints or just a little boot in the rear, this is a really terrific document to take a look at. The next thing I'd call your attention to is our reference release form. This looks like this. Because of academic confidentiality laws, if you want any of your instructors here at Kirkwood to be able to say anything to you, or anything, to a potential employer about you, you need to fill out one of these releases. Otherwise, we can't say anything at all because those are confidential student records. So you would print this form and fill it out. Your name, the instructor or instructors you would like to act as a reference. You can check the appropriate check boxes here. You can sign it with your K number, and then you'll put it in a file over at the Animal Health Building. And if someone calls and says, this person was your student, they've listed you as a reference, we will go to that file. We'll look up this paper and say, yes, the student will allow me to act as a reference for her. And we will then call the person back and talk about the things that you allow us to talk about. I will call your attention to this part right here, the waive, do not waive. I'm going to strongly encourage you to say waive. And here's the reason why. If you do not waive your right to review and receive a copy of any reference provided, it really slows the reference process down. It's already cumbersome. The employer calls us. We have to go over and check for this document. Then we have to call them back. If we add getting you into the loop, into this part of things, this process can stretch out into weeks, and it has. And that's really frustrating to employers, and it's easier for them to just hire somebody else than it is to wait while we jump through all of these hoops. I will tell you that I, at least, will be glad to tell you just what I would tell an employer. And so without you requiring me to do so. But if you say that you do not waive, it can add considerable time to the reference process, and that isn't always a good thing. Here, it talks about exactly where that file folder is that has your name on it, behind the front desk at the Animal Health Building. That is where we will go to look for this reference release form if anybody calls us. And that form is usually good for about a year after you have put it in there. So that's about a year after the date that you have provided. So that's the first part of the material for April 11th. The next two things are a resume and a cover letter that will be due on the 18th. And I'm going to create separate tutorial files on each of those things so that this one doesn't get real long and boring. Again, if you have any questions, email me. Come see me during office hours. I'll be here every day except Monday the 11th. And class will, of course, meet on Wednesday the 13th.